There we go.
Heck yeah.
Hello, hello, hello.
I decided to pose coming into this
I
one.
saw. It was very sexy.
You know, sometimes us fatties got to bring out the sexy.
When I think of you, Rob, I think of nothing but sexiness.
It's true. Ever since that day we went on that road trip and I recorded everything in standard definition on a high definition camera, it was, we knew everything was going to be good after that.
You know what's funny is, because of COVID, we've kind of gone backwards in evolution a little bit.
A little bit, feels like
like you would think at this point in our lives where we have good jobs, earning good money, we would have nice clothes, but instead we're wearing like pajama bottoms. And
oh yeah, I don't think I've worn
chance
real
I don't
pants
care.
in like a year. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think I've worn real pants in like a year.
Yeah.
Like yeah, probably. And the great part is now I don't fit into any of them, so
It doubles the need for pajamas pants.
right. These basketball athletic shorts were never meant to be used for athletics.
They were never used for athletics.
No, they never have been.
All right, it looks like my haircut is faded on the side. It's just I'm going gray. That's all that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just like Mr. Fantastic.
Yes. Now Mr. Fantastic is 300 pounds and a nerd that sits in his nerd room.
I mean, he could be. It's not like we've seen the Fantastic Four do anything in a long time. Except for those really great movies that came out.
Oh, yeah. The only thing everyone cared about was the fact that Invisible Woman lost her clothes when she went invisible.
Right.
Which makes no sense at all, but because she's not Ghost Woman.
Well, she took them off.
Oh.
I think the scene is she tries to go invisible to get away from people and then starts taking her clothes off because she realizes that they're not invisible.
Right.
But then somehow gets distracted and starts turning visible again. I don't know.
I don't think that...
All I know is people were like, we need to almost see her naked for this scene.
I don't feel like in Fantastic Four was written originally for comic relief. But
it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't see the reboot.
I did.
Oh, okay.
It was not good.
Sure.
At all.
No.
It was really hard to kind of get over the fact that their origin story made no sense at all.
Right. So, also, didn't Doom end up being like a hacker or something?
Yeah,
he wasn't really a scientist.
Yeah, he's a computer dude.
That never sat right with me.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit quickly about the setup. Normally we use Zoom's recording feature. We're trying something different today. It might be awful, but we're trying it anyways. I'm using OBS, capturing all the different things. We'll see how it works out. I got a new camera, which is in focus. Rob got nothing. Okay.
No, nothing new here. But I am thinking about getting a microphone so I can lose the cans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never should lose the cans. Okay. What comic should we do? We have Swamp Thing, Captain America, and Rick and Morty Worlds Apart.
Let's do Cap first.
Okay.
Let's do Cap first. I have I have thoughts about this comic.
So it's another King in Black.
Yes.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts?
I'll comment on King in Black just to start. Everything I've read of King in Black, I haven't enjoyed. Now, it's not that much. It's not that much compared to the entire King in Black library that there is now. I've maybe read 4 comics out of them.
Okay.
A couple of them were number ones. And I think that's my major problem with it is, and I feel like maybe this is more common in comics in general now, is where there's a larger overarching story.
Yeah.
And you've got all these comics that live within it.
Yeah.
So number ones don't feel like number ones. Like
there's a backstory you need to understand. Yeah.
And for this one, for Captain America, like it starts with him being very like they start in this fight and Winter Soldier and Falcon are there.
Yep.
And Captain America shows up like, I'm going to help. But then he's like super tormented by something that obviously happened before.
Right.
But if I was to pick this up and I don't know King of Black and I see that it's a number one, and this could be an extremely confusing comic.
Given Winter Soldier and Falcon are about to come out in a couple weeks.
Right.
Yeah. You very well might end up in that situation. I felt like I hope this isn't an omen for the TV show, but I felt like the Falcon Winter Soldier dynamic was very forced. Like they should not belong in the same scene together because their styles are so different from each other.
Yeah, they definitely feel different.
And Winter Soldier in this felt like a kid. He felt like he was a teenager.
Yes. And I feel like the way that he's portrayed, even in the art, changes from like on page. I don't have page numbers, I guess. But there's a panel where Captain America has him this. He looks like such a young kid there.
Yeah.
But then you go back even one page, 2 pages, he looks a lot older.
But then you go to the first page where we're introduced to the comic, and in 2 panes, the top pane he looks young, the bottom pane he looks like a Archie character.
He saw those missiles coming and he aged like...
Yeah.
He aged a few years. Yeah, I think something that bothered me about this one, other than all the things we've mentioned so far.
Yeah.
Something that bothered me about this one was the flashbacks that Captain America keeps having, or these like weird, not even flashbacks, they're almost like fake visions of what's happening. It's another one of those things. If you don't know King of Black and you're just getting into this, like, and I don't even know that they did a really good job here of making it clear that what they were showing happening wasn't actually happening.
Yeah.
And he kept like snapping back to reality, like, oh, that wasn't actually happening. And 3 or 4 times.
Right.
They tried to do that.
Get that sense with the Daredevil comic.
Yes.
Did the same thing. I personally thought that the shield usage was almost like the shield had mythical powers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They do that to an extent in the movies too. Like it has some weird things that it does.
Yeah. I mean, the boomerang effect is in the comics, but it like flying around and missing a bunch of things and then hitting someone in the throat's a little exhaustive.
Sure. I think there's even a line in, I think it's Civil War, and Spider-Man, he throws the shield, and then Spider-Man's like, wow, he's like, that thing does not obey the laws of physics, does it?
Right.
And I think that was, they do a good
nod
in the movies. They do actually a pretty good job of making fun of themselves
for
things like that. But I don't know, and I hate to say that I don't like this comic just because it's part of King in Black, but I just think
That's how I feel.
I just yeah, I just think that the King in Black trying to force it into every single comic storyline
Yeah.
is just it's confusing really to do like number ones like this. Like Captain
Yeah.
America number 1 inside of King in Black. And
Yeah.
it's like, wait, okay, well what about the 10 comics I needed to read before this to understand what's going on?
Yeah, that are characters that you don't care about necessarily.
Sure. Sure. Especially like, am I going to have to go read that Daredevil comic? Like, I'm not a fan of Daredevil,
Right.
right? Like, it's not a comic I would go pick up normally.
And it's really hard to
But
tell.
I do like Captain America, so that's where, yeah.
It was hard to tell. Like some people talk about, oh well, you don't have to read that comic, but because it doesn't really move the story forward.
Then why does it exist?
Yeah, exactly. Like the Daredevil one, they're like, don't worry about it because it doesn't matter. It's like, well, then just let them do a Daredevil comic.
Yeah, then just don't do it. Like, I think, like,
Yeah.
we've often talked about what are some criteria that help determine our rating of the comics, and obviously you've got things like, do you like the writing, do you like the art, you know, things like that. But we've another couple things: does it move the characters forward, does it move the story forward?
Yeah.
So if you've got a comic where the overall opinion is, oh, you don't need to read that one because it doesn't move the story forward, then like why did you read it at all?
Right.
Yeah, and I can't say that about this one because they obviously did something. There was a story to this. There obviously was a plan that we were not really made privy to. Right. Going into this,
there's clearly two stories here going on.
Right. You've got Captain America's weird story, and you've also got the fact that Winter Soldier and Falcon clearly had like a plan for this trap or whatever they were trying to set for King in Black.
King in Black.
And
King of Black.
This comic did have some pretty funny, pretty hilarious facial expressions sometimes.
Yes.
This one
I think your favorite one is the Cap one, right?
Yeah, where it's like, Steve, I'm hit. No, it wasn't real. And like there's also on that same page, there's also the like, I don't have time to panic or make a decision. His face in both of those panels is hilarious.
Yeah. And his neck looks like it's been disjointed from his head.
I can't even do it because that's not a thing that humans can do with their neck. But
I have too many necks to do it.
Yeah, that's what's going on. I think for me, this is a pretty easy one.
A one?
Yeah, and it's terrible because I like Captain America.
Right.
Always kind of have. For some reason, the thing that drew me to Captain America, like in comics and such, wasn't the like, man, I love Captain. It's the shield. I think it's dumb, but like great at the same time to just have this character who their only like weapon is a shield. Like I just think that's cool. I remember in City of Heroes when they introduced like that your character could be just be a shield fighter. I made that character because I'm like, oh, this is great. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't enjoy this comic.
So what I did like about it was the art style started out really rough. But I kind of got used to it very quickly. The guy's really good at drawing dragons.
He is. I guess I'll give it that.
But this is the same as the Daredevil comic in that it was Steve trying to defeat King in Black from the inside out.
Right.
So and then
Bucky, very much losing at some points.
Yeah, and Bucky and Falcon kind of trying to help him out with that. I thought the silhouette shot of Bucky and Falcon handing the shield to Cap
Yes.
was very kind of brought me back to Endgame. How they both felt like, no, give the shield back. It's his.
Oh, sure. It is a cool panel now that I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyhow, I'm at a 1.5 on it.
Okay.
I think it went too long, and I agree with you. I think Kane Black has gone too long. If you look at past the last page,
the checklist,
yeah. So, it looks like it's coming to an end soon.
Whoo!
Which should be great. I think they missed a real opportunity with Sword being introduced into Wanda Vision to cross-tie the comic book with Sword. Instead, they were kind of stuck in the middle of KiB Black.
Right.
So, I mean, WandaVision got delayed by 6 months, right? Or something like.
Sure.
So, I don't know that they expected to be in this situation. Okay, so we have a 1 and a 1.5. That was not a great start.
I did pick that one to start, so maybe it's my fault.
Okay, I'm going to pick the next one, and that's going to be Rick and Morty.
All right, Rick and Morty Worlds Apart, number 1.
Now, number 1, number 2 came out the same day.
Okay.
We are opting to do just number 1. I have not watched a single episode of Rick and Morty. I have.
Okay.
I've seen clips. I've done reading about them. I've got their comics. But I haven't seen a single episode.
Interesting. Okay, so I have seen at least season 1 and 2 of Rick and Morty. I think there was this big gap between season 2 and 3. I think I'm remembering this correctly. And by the time 3 came out, I had just kind of
dropped off.
And I had a lot of friends that were like, "Oh, season 3 is great. You got to watch season 3." And I did. I watched a little bit, but I couldn't quite get back into it. I feel like it fell in on itself, where people were like, "Oh, it's such like." It was a big joke on the internet that was like, "Oh, if you don't like Rick and Morty, it's because you're not intelligent enough to understand it." And I think those jokes propagated so much between seasons 2 and 3 that by the time 3 came out, I'm just like, I just don't want to be part of this.
Yeah, it became a little toxic.
Yeah, the community got a little toxic around it, but
it's funny because it's kind of that niche market that we would normally fall into, where it's
very much so
animation, comedy, kind of Back to the Future meets D&D meets,
sure,
all these different elements with a lot of pop culture in it.
I think I'm.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll mention it because Murray's not here, and I feel like he would. It has very much a like. Remember when Invader Zim was big?
Yeah,
like it has that vibe to it. Like there was animation, there was comics. It was a different sense of humor than people were used to.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Murray was here, he'd mention that because Murray was and is a huge Invader Zim fan. So
I think that The Simpsons did it first, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
When they first came out, it was TV show writers writing, a cartoon, and it kind of took it to another level. Right. Unfortunately, they've been able to keep it going. And like Family Guy almost got there, Bob's Burgers getting there, kind of where they have to change the way they write to make it last longer. So yeah, I don't know very much about Rick and Morty, but I feel like there's more of a cult following than a good following. Like people watch it because they need to, not because they want to.
Yeah, That feels like it. And this, so to kind of connect the comic and the show for you, since you haven't seen it, this very much sticks to the comedy style of the show. This was a little more hard hitting in the like Rick and Morty would sometimes walk this line of like almost sexual, not quite sexual enough, and
Right.
like sexual without there being sex. And this comic walked that line
On the other side of the line.
yeah, a little bit. Like you've got the, and apparently like this must be a season 3 or season 4. I don't know if season 4 Rick and Morty is a thing. Apparently there's an episode of Rick and Morty where the slut dragons are a thing.
Yes.
And
I use that GIF a lot.
and yeah, you did use that GIF earlier. So this is like connected to that. This is like this continuation of like, oh no, the slut dragons are in trouble.
Right. Right.
Which I was like, okay,
I guess that's a
I
thing
guess.
now.
And I actually didn't know that episode existed until I was reading the comic, and Rick says in the comic, no, I don't revisit stories we've already told. Sorry.
Right.
And he basically doesn't want to help based on the fact that been there, done that. We're not doing this anymore. And that's when Morty takes over to try and help with his other grandfather. But yeah, I guess I will say this. If you are a fan of Rick and Morty, you will likely like this comic.
Right.
It definitely stuck to the art style was right. The comedy was right. Because I've kind of fallen out of the fandom.
Yeah.
I think it rates a little low for me. I'd probably give it a 2.5, maybe a 2. But I think if you're a Rick and Morty fan, I think this is probably worth reading and worth picking up because it sticks with what you're used to.
Yeah, and it's a multi-story, right? A multi-comic story. But they join up at the end? And the slut dragon's name is Bathroom?
You know, I read his name in so many different ways. Balthroma?
Yeah, Bathroom. Look
Yeah,
at it.
so basically-
It says Bathroom.
It really does just say bathroom. Like, it's so much easier to just say bathroom than his actual name. But yeah, I don't have much more of an opinion on this one.
It didn't feel great to me. You know
No.
what's amazing is the art animation style is so simple.
Yes.
But then, like, I'm on this page with this universal scrunch happening. All the planets coming together and, you know.
Oh, yes, sure.
That's super complex to draw.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's just interesting to see the different art styles within the same comic book.
Yeah. I like we comment on, like, that's super complicated to draw and kind of impressive. And in that same panel, Rick is super bored
Yeah.
by it all.
Yarn.
Like, the universe, this universe, this alternate universe he's decided to visit is literally being created. And he's just kind of like, this is dumb.
I feel like it's almost like breaking the fourth wall without acknowledging the fourth wall.
Like, I want to say that's kind of a Rick and Morty thing,
like
that's something they do.
Like something amazing happens, and the viewer goes, "Whoa, that's cool!" And then, you know, Rick and Morty, being the assholes they are, they kind of go, "Ugh, whatever."
Right, and actually, what's funny, I think they don't address that directly in Rick and Morty, but I think one of the things they do is Rick very much treats Morty like he's the viewer.
I see.
Morty will be like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so impressive!" Oh, and Rick's like, "Yeah, okay, I see this every day." Blah, 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 and like you as the viewer might be very impressed, like Morty is, but where Rick is just kind of like, "Ugh, okay, I'm so over it."
Right.
But so I probably won't read more, to be honest, but
Yeah,
I do like the
either.
fact that in the first one, this weird teddy bear Rick shows up at the
Yeah.
end and is like, he's like, looks like I'm not alone here after all. And it's like, I assume this teddy bear Rick is.
I've used his GIF too.
Oh, okay. So he's somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, probably a 2.5 for me. I
mean,
Rick and Morty fans, go pick it up.
I have so little context for this that for me it's like a 1.5 again.
Yeah, no, and that's understandable, especially if you haven't seen the show. You don't really have if the only thing you know of Rick and Morty is the gifs that you send to me and Murray, then yeah, it's gonna rank pretty low.
Yeah,
but
all right,
yeah, that's where we are with that one.
Swamp Thing.
I'm gonna let you start on this one.
Okay, so Infinite Frontier is the phase after Future
State, yeah.
Future State. So they kind of are rebooting the universe and they're reintroducing all of their characters. And they are only reintroducing some of their characters in groups. So like, while you might have a Teen Titans, you won't also have a Robin comic. He's going to be a Teen Titan. So, Swamp Thing I own every Swamp Thing comic made. So I have a pretty good understanding, of the story. They kind of made it a little more modern, even though it's in the Civil War days.
Yes. There's portions of it that take place in Civil War times.
Yeah. But I thought it was fantastic how they introduced the main character turning into Swamp Thing.
Yes,
with
I agree with that.
The tree destroying the airplane.
Yeah, that's actually an impressive panel.
Yeah,
where is that panel?
I don't necessarily know why they put the bathroom in there, but I guess he was in the bathroom and the door busted open. But I feel like they could have done something better there on that tiny little pane.
I've got my comic all narrow. That's why I'm like, why can't I find the full panel? There we go. Yeah, this was a cool full page. I don't know what we call this. Full spread. I'm a centerfold, and I knew that wasn't right. I really liked that Swamp Thing centerfold. I may have read the wrong comic.
So it once again, it didn't happen. It was in his psyche was waking up to Swamp Thing being within him, and then you have the zombies who are the sheriff's men. I kind of like that the zombie has the hand of someone in his hand.
Yeah, like he's holding other hands.
Yeah. It's like
I'm telling you, this comic set itself up for a bunch of great puns, and they just never used them.
He's armed.
He's armed. Sheriff need a hand. There's a bunch of parts where, he's like, is a thing entirely different from who I thought I was, and he could have been like a Swamp Thing. And now I will say that putting these horrible comics in, horrible comics. Sorry, the last two really got to me. These horrible puns in would have greatly made this comic worse. Like he wakes up on the plane and they're like, oh, like like Mr. Levi, he's like, we've arrived, sir. It's time to disembark. And he could have been like something about a tree. Anyways, sorry, that was. But yeah,
so you had this pain before the airplane got torn into two
uh-huh. Yeah.
about him going to India, blah 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 blah.
Yes.
And then when he actually turns into Swamp Thing, you get that same pain with more detail.
Yeah, you get the here it is. Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice
and
touch.
A little more understanding.
Yeah. And then, comes home to his dad and him. They didn't talk his whole life. Pretty much. And then his dad forgives him.
Yeah, because he said he kind of ended up being like the wayward kid. The wayward son.
So the interesting thing is Swamp Thing comics fall into two big brackets. Either the comics very dark, not from a storytelling point of view, but actually visually, or it's very bright. And and that's when Swamp Thing has his girlfriend with him, and everything's happy and flowers. He actually blooms flowers and.
Oh, interesting.
And this is kind of in the middle. It's kind of he's not dark, but he's not light either.
Yeah, it was pretty consistent. I did like that the art style felt consistent. Now, it might just be that I've read so much Future State at this point that doesn't feel normal to me.
Yeah.
But I love that the art felt consistent. There was not like a panel that I felt was out of place.
And the art was good.
Yeah.
Who drew this?
It was me. No,
it definitely Rob, wasn't. It was you're wasting your talents
on Swamp Thing.
Writer, art by Phil Hester. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well done. I will say the end confused me a little bit. I didn't understand what was going on. When like the sheriff turns in like to a weird Swamp Thing zombie.
Yes.
I don't know why that happened. And then I don't know what Swamp Thing's name is when he's not. He like pops out of a tree.
Yeah.
At the end, and I'm like, it's like to be continued. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. He was asleep on the couch, and then this weird sheriff guy became a Swamp Thing like horror zombie monster, which the zombie seemed to be okay with. The other zombie, he was like, haha, gotcha,
bing bong.
Yeah, and then the Swamp Thing monster like disappeared to the ground. I say Swamp Thing monster like he's not the focus of the comic. And then human Swamp Thing like gets spat out of a tree in New York.
In Central Park, which, let's be honest, a lot of things end up coming out of trees in Central Park. Yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna read the crap out of the next one. I know that.
I probably will too, actually.
And that's the first time I've said that about a DC comic in at least 2 months.
Easily. Yeah. Easily. And what's funny is the DC comic that I thought I would keep reading, which was
Dark Detective?
No. Oh, yeah. That one went bad. It's like they can't get a good third one. It's like 1 and 2 is good, and the third one was bad. Was Worlds of War, like that that first section. And then they were like, oh, it continues in this one.
House of L.
And it didn't really. Yeah. And, I mean, it did, but they didn't explain it well, so it felt disconnected.
1.5 panes.
Yeah. It was like, remember? It's like, kind of. Like I felt like there was 7 years that happened that I missed out on between the two. But yeah, what would you give this?
I'll give it a 3.
Okay. I was gonna go 3.5.
That actually might go up depending on how good the next one is.
Okay.
If they explain some of the weirdness going on.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. 3-5.
So DC won.
Oh yeah. Swamp Thing was hands down the best comic this week.
Rick and Morty being the worst.
Yeah, yeah, even though I rated it higher than the Captain America one, I don't know.
Oh,
I've just kind of fallen out of the Rick and Morty fandom.
So Cap was actually the worst.
I think I rated Cap the worst, and you rated Rick and Morty the worst. So
I
mean,
they both
were. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think Cap. Yeah, I guess if you take all our scores, Cap was the worst one this week.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we still have a good amount of time. Do you want to talk about Wanda Vision?
We certainly can.
Yeah, so spoiler alert going forward, we will be talking about WandaVision in its entirety.
And you probably should just quit now if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, because we're gonna spoil it. As a whole, I thoroughly enjoyed WandaVision.
Same here.
I like that nothing I thought would happen did. A lot of people, and I've read enough articles written by what I assume are idiots, to know that some people were like, they're like, I liked it, but I was disappointed that X didn't happen. And I still like the ones that are just clickbaity, like the one I told you about the other day. Right. It's like major plot hole.
Massive.
It's like her brother in the movie said that the bomb hit when they were eating dinner, but her memory shows that the bomb hit when they were watching TV. I'm like, that's, and like you said it, if it doesn't affect the plot, it wasn't a plot hole. Like the point was they were at home, and a bomb hit their house.
And people died.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone I've talked to has had a good review of it. Like I haven't talked to anyone yet that was like, oh, I just not my thing. I have talked to people that said this is way different than I thought it was, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I did not see this happening like episode 1, 2, and 3. I did not feel like we'd end up in a vision on vision Harkness or which versus which battle. I think what threw me off was that they showed so much restraint.
Oh yeah,
like Agatha Harkness was a gimme, right?
Right.
But they could have gone 100 different ways with it. And I'll tell you, the way that makes the least sense is Mephisto.
Right, and that's the one that like a lot of people thought that's where they were going.
It just doesn't make sense. Nightmare doesn't make sense either. Right. But what threw everyone off there was the alludement to a like Luke Skywalker sized reveal towards the end.
Yeah, and the only thing that even came remotely close to what I would say is like if you were a big fan of comics and you knew what the White Vision was. Yeah. And
that's a big deal.
Maybe the Skrull at the end was kind of okay. But if you think about Monica and such, that makes sense for them to be like. And I'm pretty sure that he wants to see you. I'm pretty sure that's Nick Fury, because they showed at the end of, I think it was Endgame. No, the end of Spider-Man.
Yeah, where he's stepping out of a room.
Yeah, he's like on the spaceship, and he's like, okay, I say that like he's like a dumb character. No,
like, and he's like, my lights are turning on.
He's like, someone get my shoes back to work. But
I've enslaved all of these Skrulls around me.
Now, do you think this is maybe a dumb question? Like,
there's only dumb questions.
Yeah. Like, how much more can they really expand on the White Vision thing? I mean, he clearly did something where he's like, well, now you know. Like he's like,
Yeah.
oh, here, I unblocked some of your memories. And he's like, oh, I am Vision. And then he leaves.
Yeah, so he unlocks all of his memories.
Right.
At
least it seemed that way. Yeah.
The analogy or the question that he asks about where he says they are neither of them on the boat, and both of them on the boat, or something like that.
Oh yeah. Neither of them are the original, and both of them are the original.
Yeah, so that has to do. I don't know if you've read what that means. So it's a psychology.
I have heard that. When they brought it up, I immediately knew what they were talking about.
Okay, so
about the ship.
Yes. So so basically, at that point, it went from a battle of strength to a battle of the mind. And at that point, the white Vision realizes that he is the Vision, right? And then when his memories are unlocked, he realizes that he has a responsibility as the Vision.
Yeah.
To maintain. So I don't know where he went. One would think that he would go dig up Ultron somewhere to kill him again.
Right. Or, I just don't know where, looking forward at what they've got coming up, I don't know where they plan on inserting him again. Or are they just going to be like, he left and he's gone for a while, and he'll come back when it makes sense for us to use him.
They did that with Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Like, he got all butthurt and then climbed on his ship and just disappeared for like 3 movies.
Right, and then it's like, oh, where was he? Oh, well, he was in a Thor movie. He was on oh, now I can't remember the name of that planet, and it bothers me that I can't remember, but
is in a
part of the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have my own thoughts about, and I honestly haven't read around, because every article I've seen makes me feel like the only people who write articles about this are idiots. The very last scene where she's at the cabin.
Yes.
And she walks into the cabin, and obviously she's doing some sort of astral projection thing in the bedroom and reading a book or doing whatever. Had a very Doctor Strange looking through the multiple timelines feel to it. I wonder where in time that is supposed to be taking place. Like, has she, because she knows who Doctor Strange is, has she already spoken to him? And because I guarantee you they're not going to go because even she said Agatha was like, oh, you're supposed to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, blah blah blah. I guarantee you they're not going to go the route of, well, she's going to go fight him because she's more powerful. Like, I could see an MCU where she goes to him to be like, hey, what is this? And he helps her out. And I could see that scene taking place after she's talked to him and has learned a little bit about, the whole astral projection thing and blah, blah, blah. But like, maybe being the Scarlet Witch comes with some innate knowledge.
It does. Harkness actually said that.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Yeah. That instead of needing decanters and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
She can just do it.
Right. And she doesn't need to study or know incantations and things like that.
The interesting thing is that Doctor Strange actually did it pretty early on, that same move.
Yes.
When he was learning the books.
Yeah.
He did the same thing where he astral projected himself. And so I think it's a pretty low
But he did,
grade.
Yeah, that's probably true. He did have to learn it, though, because one of the very first scenes in the library is him asking Wong for books on astral projection.
Yeah, the thing is that he also had to...
Just remembering that scene where he calls him Beyonce, and it cracks.
He actually had to get over himself to be able to do it.
That's true.
Right? Like, he had to come to terms with him being a wizard or a witch.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard.
That would have been a good scene. But you're right. She wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're gonna put this TV show on the back burner for a while.
I think they will, and I don't think we'll hear anything about it until Doctor Strange comes out. Because she said in an interview, we're filming Doctor Strange right now, and the TV show is very much a tee up for my character in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see her a lot in Doctor Strange. At least that's the feeling I get. Whether they actually, I mean, she's at least in it.
There's a problem that happens in comics all the time, and it happens in games as well, like fighting games, and that's balance. Like, how do you balance a character out so that they're not so strong that they can beat everyone, right?
Right.
And in comics, they just leave the other person out of the comic. They're like,
for some reason they're not here.
Yeah. So in the MCU, they don't typically do that. They don't have a Superman character until now. Photon, Captain Marvel, and Wanda.
Yeah.
Right, so it's going to be interesting to see how they balance out the characters. Like, what are their weaknesses? Like, every time someone wants to defeat Wanda, they bring out her 2 kids and they start killing them.
Right. And that's another thing, is at the end she hears, I think the subtitles say it's Tommy is the one that's saying, "Oh, Mom, help," you know.
So the storyline is that she, in the comic book at least, is that she figures out how to resurrect humans. And so she resurrects Tommy and Billy or Bobby or Joe Bob.
Which one's Speed? Which one's Wiccan?
Tommy is Speed.
Okay, Tommy is Speed. Billy is Wiccan?
Billy is Wickham.
Okay. Yeah.
With Hulkling.
Yeah. And another comic that's inside of King of Black.
Yes.
By the way. Anyways. And it's interesting to see, and we've talked about it before, interesting to see that like Marvel has something planned every week for the rest of the year. Whether it be a TV show release, a movie release. So I think this upcoming Friday is the making of Wanda Vision kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, we start Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, God, we'll see how that goes.
I felt like WandaVision was very finessed.
Yeah.
And Winter Soldier and Falcon is going to be just beating you over the head.
Yeah. Let's go. Like, it's gonna be like the bad boys of MCU,
right?
But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I thought WandaVision was gonna be kind of boring. I wasn't sure. Well, mainly because the teasers didn't give you anything.
Yeah.
Other than it was like,
it's a TV show.
Look at us do these old sitcoms. I'm like, okay.
And the first 3 episodes, like, while they were kind of funny and there was alluding to the fact that they're inside the Marvel universe, it was essentially boring.
Right. Yeah, if you were getting into it for like, I'm going to get into some MCU show, the first episode had like 1 or 2 moments where it was like, okay, something's a little off. One was the like choking scene with their boss. You're like, okay, something's wrong, because when someone's choking, everyone at the table doesn't just sit there and wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
And especially with his wife going like, stop it. Stop. Like you're embarrassing me. Stop choking on the ground. But yeah, it was good. I'm kind of, I think the one thing I've seen that annoys me is there's very much that was really good. When is season 2? And it's like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Season 2 is the rest of the MCU.
Yeah. We don't need a season 2. We don't
No.
want a Defenders
Oh God,
situation.
no one wants the Defenders.
Um,
If they want to reintroduce the Defenders characters to the MCU, I'm okay with that because, like that's fine.
Yeah.
Those are Marvel characters, and they'll do okay with them. But
yeah.
I do know that what's his face was tagged for the guy who plays Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
He's supposed to be actually like back in the MCU, and is apparently part of Secret Invasion, is what they're supposedly pulling him in for.
Secret Invasion can be awesome or terrible.
Well, we're not going to see it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So
if I thought about it, I would have had a thing up that was like, oh, here's the upcoming shows and movies, but I wasn't thinking this far ahead. I rarely think an hour ahead. It just doesn't do me any good.
I think it was a good show. I think it was a good introduction of this must have been very hard for them to take Wanda, who had only shown up in teen movies, right, and to isolate her out and make her seem like she can stand by herself as a hero.
Yeah, because she was what, Age of Ultron,
yeah,
Civil War, yeah, and then both Infinity War and Endgame for
she
like
always had a team
30
surrounding
seconds where
her,
she
right?
nearly killed Thanos.
Yeah.
And it's funny watching WandaVision. Now I'm like, yeah, like what would have happened if Thanos hadn't called down a airstrike essentially while she was attacking him? There's a really good chance she would have killed him, like with no problem.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember is that Thanos was a military strategist, and so he didn't do anything that he didn't have to do.
Right.
And at that moment, he felt like he had to interrupt.
Yeah, because even one of his dudes is like, "But sir, our troops."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do it."
Yeah.
Do
it before my pants get ripped off.
Oh, you said thing. Fantastic Four confirmed. Just,
Yeah, that's right.
I was one of those people. I thought the astrophysicist or whatever that she thought of or whatever, I thought that was going to be Reed Richards. Or in an article that I wrote, Richard Reeds. Gosh, that made me so mad. I shouldn't have been so like annoyed by that article. God, I got to stop reading these articles. But yeah.
I think it's much more likely that when they refer to people being stuck in space in like episode 4, that's the Fantastic Four. In Infinity War, yes, or Endgame, can't remember which one. Endgame. In an Endgame, when they time travel back to go get one of the stones, and Peggy's there in the other room.
Yes.
She says the name of Captain Britain.
Oh, interesting.
So there's the Captain Britain initiative going on. So I think the biggest curse of these movies are the closed captioning. So anyhow, I think what is really good about this TV show was the acting was so much better than I thought it would be.
Yes.
The casting was good, even though they cast like 1.5 people because everyone else came from movies that they already had going on. The secretive level was very high.
Extremely high.
And how much potential the episode had was extremely high, which means that potential could go into future movies and future TV shows. Like as in, Mephisto could show up, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But, yeah, just to follow along with that thought about the episodes having potential. And they did a good job of like before every episode, there were wild fan theories
Yeah.
about what happened. And many times, movies fall victim to that as well.
Yes.
Where there's these wild fan theories, and then people go see the movie and they're like, well, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen, so I didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of almost none of the fan theories I read were correct. And it still knocked it out of the park. Every episode was like, wow, that didn't happen, but what did happen was great. And I think it speaks to what I hope the shows do and continue to do, and what I think WandaVision did well. One, I'd like all the shows to be at least good and watchable. Let's just put that out there. But what I like, that something that WandaVision did, and I think it doesn't get enough credit for, is it subtly introduced characters that they plan on using later. And it didn't pound those characters into you like, oh, by the way, you're going to have to know everything about this character now.
Yes.
And I like that if they could use the TV shows to take that part of it out of the movies.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine having, like, what if they had to set up Photon or Monica, or is it Photon or something?
Photon, Spectrum, she goes by a bunch of stuff,
if they had to set that up inside of that's Captain Marvel 2.
Mm-hmm.
But now the character's kind of set up already.
Exactly.
You got a little taste of it. You did the White Vision. You've got I can't remember, they kind of set up Wiccan and Speed.
Yep.
Like, I'd like to so my things for the shows, I'd like them to be good, and I like that they can use the shows to subtly introduce new characters without having to take chunks of movies to introduce them. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I hope that keeps going on. I think it'll happen at least with a couple of characters within Winter Soldier, Falcon. Yeah. I think we'll get U.S. Agent most likely.
Yes.
Actually, not most likely. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. We'll probably get a couple more. I don't know. I don't know enough about those storylines, and honestly, we're starting to get to where, like, they're introducing Marvel characters I've never heard of. So
there's a lot of Marvel characters,
Yeah, and like the library up to this point was all characters that, like, maybe they weren't the most popular characters,
right?
But I knew about them.
Yeah.
But now, like, Photon, I'd never heard of Photon. We've got Shang-Chi, or I think is coming up. Other than the one comic we read a couple weeks ago, I'd never heard of Shang-Chi.
He's been in comics a long, long time.
And so I don't know. Hopefully,
so what's interesting about
exciting things coming.
Shang-Chi, they might bring the Mandarin into Shang-Chi, the real Mandarin.
I thought I've read that the real Mandarin is like the expected bad guy for that movie.
Yeah, I think so, because the name of the movie is 10 Rings, which is the 10 Rings of the Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're like Thanos's glove, but they have, like, one's compassion and one's, like, they have different human traits. I completely agree with you. I think
more like the Planeteers.
Yeah, exactly. Heart, go planet. I like the way they introduced characters. I like that they didn't introduce characters that were beyond the show, as in that were bigger. And it also makes me feel worried about bringing X-Men in, because it overshadows these great characters that they've kind of built.
Yeah, and that was another thing I read, is someone that was like, oh, like, we were expecting, like, a multiverse tie-in with Pietro, and like the actor that played, and what we got was Ralph Boner. And I hope that was a joke on, like, a couple levels, where like a boner being like a joke, like, haha, like, gotcha. And
well, he's not a Marvel character, I can tell you that.
No, no, no. I know that the Joker and his great boner. I know that that's definitely DC side, but no, Overall, just I was thrilled
Yeah.
with it. I hope it continues. I will still say I'm not hyped about Falcon and Winter Soldier. What's funny is I liked the characters in the movies. The show just kind of makes me feel like it's going to be like a weird buddy cop show.
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, they both feel like meatballs. Like there's no brains between the two of them.
Right.
So, and what's her name's meant to show up? Sharon.
Agent 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe she's the brains between the two idiots.
I almost said Sharon Stone, and I knew that wasn't right.
Sharon Carter?
Sharon Carter. They can have Sharon Stone show up too. Why not?
She's just sitting in a dark corner, constantly crossing her legs,
back and forth. They're like, "Do you have to keep?" She's like, "Yes."
Yeah, this is
all they pay me for. Oh, great! I'm glad we said that.
Yeah, that was real cute.
Oh,
all right.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to the Meatball show at all. So
I will try to stay optimistic. I'll be the optimistic of the two of us. So at least only one of us gets to be disappointed.
If it is better than Iron Man 3,
okay,
I'll be happy.
Now we're setting the bar. Okay.
If it's better than Iron Man 2, well, I expect it to be on par with Iron Man 2.
We should, and we say this a lot, and maybe I should start writing these down, like ideas for shows. We should do a show where we rank our top 5 MCU movies.
Oh.
Because I think it would be interesting to see our differences. Because I know you and I feel differently about different MCU movies. Like, I know we do.
The biggest difference is Winter Soldier.
I like Winter Soldier.
Which,
and I don't think you do.
That's my lowest one.
Yeah, interesting. And what's funny, there's a lot of lists where Winter Soldier is very high.
Yes.
So that's why I think it would be interesting, and I want to make sure we drag Murray into that one.
My opinion is not the popular one when it comes to Winter Soldier. I could have slept through that movie because it moved along so slowly.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then every time they needed to kill someone, they threw them into a plane.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of planes. And, if you got to get rid of your people, you might as well throw them into the planes. And then, I'm gonna have to make a list of like stuff we could talk about because I'm starting to think of more and more stuff.
I think the
as
reason
we do these episodes,
why I didn't like it was it felt more like a Star Wars movie than an
maybe
MCU
that's why I
movie.
liked it. Not that Star Wars has been hitting it out of the park lately. But
where was Anakin?
Mandalorian's doing all right.
Where was Anakin?
Only Skywalker, according to that one guy's review. Anyways, all right. I guess we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
All right.
This week DC wins.
Yep. DC wins. Wanda Vision was great.
Right.
Gotta take away something from this.
Very controversial statements we've made.
There we go. All right. See you later, Marcel.
Bye.